Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we'll be looking at the Legacy United Infernac Universe Nucleous, who is a heavy remold of Magnus from the first wave of United all the way at the beginning of this year. And honestly, I gotta say, this is a pretty impressive remold, though I do kind of wish, instead of just Space Car, I kind of wish that they gave a little bit extra budget, maybe make it a spaceship, maybe, instead of just remolding like Magnus into a very much more techie inspired like rock vehicle form. Which, don't get me wrong, this isn't bad. I just wish they did more, because to get the comparison to the other rock bots out of the way, so here's Magnus, here's Shard, and here is Boulder Clash. So, as you can see, pretty much the first three were unique vehicles, where we just have another car here. While I don't mind it, I do wish this was like a spaceship, a plane, or something. I know they probably didn't have it in the budget to make another new mold, and considering this is one of the original characters for this line, I kind of understand them just remolding Magnus into this. Like, I don't mind it, but I do wish they did more with it. And there's technically two more Infernac bots on the way. A repaint, slight remold of Boulder Crash, and a repaint, slight remold of Magnus here in the Star Raiders line. Which, I don't know, it kind of makes me sad that they didn't get like unique molds, or at the very least they didn't do a little bit more remolding for this guy, because the only thing new that's on that like GeoCon, I can't remember the name of it at the moment, correct me in the comments. Speaking of which, like, comment, subscribe, and all the reviews for these guys will be linked in the playlists down in the comments and in the description. So let's continue. I just wish that for like his repaint, they, I don't know, gave him a new weapon, maybe made it a blaster instead of just the sword. And same thing for this guy here for the like blue version, because calcium, and all I know is that there's going to be a blue version that's packed in with the leader class for the Star Seekers line. And Shard here hasn't had any new figures or remolds from what we understand planned for her yet. So, but then again, maybe time will tell. So yeah. So that's comparisons. All of them out of the way. Let's look at what they changed between these two. So there are a lot of new parts and a lot of like metallic paint on this guy, which honestly I kind of like. So they changed the back sections here. They changed like, well, the weapon, obviously. They changed the feet, they changed the canopy, they changed the front part of the rail, they changed this thing that was like where the head pops out, and the same thing here. The only things that are really similar is how it just transforms, and pretty much a lot of the robot mode stuff, which is pretty cool. But hey, gives it that like space agey kind of look, considering I think the canon for this guy is that an Infernac bot got like dunked into a pool of Nucleon, which in the lore of Transformers is essentially a drug. I mean, it is a drug and also a power boost, because from what I remember in the original Marvel comics, Grimlock used it to revive a lot of like Autobots, but because he used it on himself, he lost the ability to transform, essentially, which gave them the excuse for Action Masters, then, which were essentially Transformers' like version of like mini action figures, kind of, sort of, that didn't really do all that well, but are kind of, well, niche at this point. So yeah. So, also, and final one little comparison between just a regular Carbot. Here's Sunstreaker from the Legacy United, like, cartoon repack stuff, so about the same-ish size. Pretty nice. So yeah, let's get on to transformation. Okay, to start off with transformation, take off these two bits here, and then you can combine them together. Just like that. Like, there is a hole, so there is a right way to do it, where the one with the handle goes into this little hole here. So yeah, so combine those and set them off to the side. And annoyingly, these aren't blast effect compatible, even though they easily could have been, in my opinion. Like, I think you can kind of just stick some blast effects in there if they're thin enough, but what? Like, huh. Well, that's a first. So, ignore what I said. I guess blast effects that are long enough like this can fit in, but I don't think blast effects with, like, but yeah, mileage may vary. So yeah, set that off to the side. We can take this off just to get out of the way. And to start off with, just bring the arms out like that. Rotate the fists forward. Then you can set them down off to the side. Unfold the legs here from the back. Flip the feet out. Then we can split the legs apart. Flip the head out. Close the wheels in to form the chest. And then we can just accordion everything down. Just like so. There we go. You bring the arms down and then make sure that the tab right here is covered by the arm. And here we have Nucleus in their robot mode. And honestly, it is impressive how, while it has the same body shape as Magnius, it is surprising how much, like, a bit of remolding and a lot of, like, new paint does for a figure, because, like, it's just kind of better Magnius. Speaking of which, here is Magnius in his robot mode. So you can see the changes even extend to robot mode, but even then, when you put them side to side, you can kind of see it, where like all the same parts end up in the same places. It's just like some slight differences that change it, the shaping a bit. And even then, you can do, because this has the same gimmicks as Magnus, where you can take the arm panels off and then plug them in right here to essentially fill in the gaps, or you just want the arms to look a bit cleaner. You can have the club essentially plugged into the back of the arm ports, which is what I kind of like to do, just to, instead of just having them be like a melee weapon, they can act as like arm rockets and such. I don't know. That's kind of the cool thing that you can do with the, like, essentially separatable characters, or the, like, weaponizers, the modulators, etc., is that you can imagine anything for them, really, because at least for, like, Kingdom onward, like, you can do that. But for ones that have, like, a main, like, G1 character name attached to it, you kind of really can't do that. Like, yeah. Also, here is Shard, and here is Boulder Crash. So, not a bad little set of, like, Rock Lord references, essentially. And honestly, I do hope that they continue this in some way, because it is kind of unique having less robotic characters and more organic kind of looking that aren't Beast Wars, in my opinion. all out of the way. And yeah, because these are essentially the same mold, just like heavily changed, you can exchange some of the parts around and technically still have it work. Like, the only things that you can technically do that to are the arms, I think these leg panels. No, actually, because the ports are more diagonal than they are straight down. So, I mean, you can kind of do it, but not to the fullest extent if you want to do it by what they give you. But I'm pretty sure you can take off like the mushroom pegs essentially and then swap them around to make them different. And I think because they still have the same connection pegs everywhere, they should still work. Yeah. So, little fun bits of like customizing that you can actually customize with without having to fully disassemble the figure. But yeah. So, let me combine these into the club that they're meant to be. So you can hold them like this and then use the back as a like shield, essentially. Pretty nice. So yeah, let's get on to articulation. So to start off with, there's just a rotation at the head. And speaking of the head, that is a cool design for a Transformer face. Like the very 80s like stylings to it, with it looking kind of like a, I don't know, like a Cylon, I think it is, from, I don't know, it's from some old sci-fi show. But yeah, it looks like something that you'd see on like the background of like a Star Wars shot, if that makes any sense. So yeah, so there is a full waist rotation. Arms can do a full 360, can go out that far. Bicep rotation, 90 degrees of bend at the elbow and a ball joint at the wrist, so you can get a full 360 and have it go inward, mostly thanks to transformation, but you can also use it to have them point their weapon, which is pretty cool. Legs can go forward that far, can go back that far, can go out that far. There is a thigh rotation. Knees can go 90 if you have the like arm panels in, but if you have them on the wrists still, you can get a full knee bend, which is really nice. There is a hinge at the knee that can only go forward and stops once you like once you transform it. And even then the feet have a like toe tilt down and have an okay ankle pivot either way, which is pretty nice. So yeah, so the armor mode for this figure is just essentially ripping it all apart, but the only parts that you really use for what they say in the instructions are just these parts here. All of this is pretty much left off to the side, where you can transform it into a skateboard, essentially. At least that's what I kind of like to do, because you can technically still transform it. Like, all the essential parts are there, but, like, it looks like something that got, like, stripped down for parts in, like, a junkyard. So what it recommends you use is Legacy Hotshot, who was released in the same wave. So what you do is you put the arms on the shoulders, have them pointed down for some reason. I don't know. And put the little arm things on the ankles. Then you can put the shield on the arm, and then the club in the hand. So that's Nucleus's like armorizer like mode, which is it's pretty dumb because you're left with all of this. And even then, you can still use some of these parts, like these two here, and then take these off because these have 5mm ports on them. So, I mean, that's the creativeness that you can do for essentially all of these, like, 5mm, like, separatable, like, figures. Is that you can do pretty much anything. I've seen people make full-on combiners out of, like, 2 to 3 figures, which is pretty impressive, honestly. I just do wish that essentially these rock, like, Infernac bots had some sort of, like, cohesive combined form, like the Junkions and the, like, fossilizers, while these guys don't. Like, I know they're meant to be kind of their own thing. I just wish that they had more, and honestly more, like, at least make, like, Nucleus, like, have a little bit more variation than just being the remold of the group, which kind of sucks. But hey, that's how budget works, because, well, when you're trying to make new molds, you have to balance out that budget with a remold or essentially just a repackaged refresh of something, which happened in this wave, I think, where there are 3 new deluxes with Nucleus, Hotshot, and Sideburn, and I think there was a 4th one that I think it was Strong Arm. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, or just correct me in the comments anyway, because I don't know, just life just gets fuzzy after a while. So yeah, so that has been my review for Nucleus. Honestly, let me know in the comments if you would want this as line to continue, essentially, or what would you have liked to see more if they had, like, more budgets to do more newer molds, like, of these guys, and essentially an entire little, like, rock subline, because I would have liked to seen what they would have done with this concept if it got a Voyager, because while last time the essentially customizable figures got a Voyager, which was the Junkions, I don't know if it sold well, but anyway, that has been my review for Legacy United Nucleus. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. I hope you have a good rest of your day. This is me, signing out. Goodbye.